The video that you're about to see is an objective view of FECORE. Please note that nothing of what I am about to discuss is an opinion, but rather public fact. Many already know the conclusion, that FECORE is a flat earth organization which by motivation and mantra is intent on swaying public opinion and convincing the public that government organizations are lying to them, and nearly every aspect of modern and historical science has in some way attempted to control the populace with lies. FECORE facilitates this by having an all-flat earther staff performing only experiments to attempt to substantiate flat earth claims, while producing only opinion-based results by ignoring all natural facts as the results. FECORE.org has also been party to promoting the flat earth conferences and has even held at least one panel during these conferences. All of this is the very definition of propaganda. The drive of FECORE is to promote and distribute propaganda against established institutions such as the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, and the United States Geological Survey, or USGS, as well as education in general regarding astronomy, mathematics, earth sciences, and history. Such activity is in direct violation of Article 2, Item C of the Articles of Incorporation document stating, "No substantial part of the activities of the corporation shall be carrying on propaganda." FECORE filed this on 7 December 2017. FECORE's activities could also be seen as a violation of that same item as it continues to forbid attempts to influence legislation, which aiming to discredit and or dismember or affect the Congress-regulated funding of government agencies such as, but not limited to, NASA, the NOAA, and the USGS is an attempt to do that very thing. Their experiments are designed to allow their opinion to be the conclusion, and despite their attempts to silence, defame, and even slander their objective critics, all of their results have been quite well identified as fraudulent in painstaking detail. During my discussion with the FECORE president and flat earther Mike Cavanaugh, he held me responsible for the researched conclusions which folks have shared about FECORE on my channel during live hangouts. Yet he refused to hold board members of FECORE responsible when speaking as a representative of FECORE or as a pundit for flat earth claims, which FECORE was founded to substantiate. In no way will I nor can I be held responsible for the opinions of others shared on my channel, which is transparent fact. However, those speaking in the name of FECORE, as members of the board or otherwise, are responsible for their statements about the company's activities and goals when stating so. First, let me start off by saying, in the state of Indiana, yes, FECORE is a registered nonprofit. But that's about all you can get out of a general surface-level online search. Achieving this status is nothing more than documents and fees were sent and accepted by the state of Indiana. This is by far not an acknowledgement of the legitimacy to FECORE's goals and principles, nor their adherence to the rules and guidelines of a nonprofit organization. This is a name and registration purchase of no particular depth. I wanted to do my own research further in FECORE with Mike's assistance, so that I could possibly correct anyone on my channel should they try and convince me of something untrue. But Mike refused to send me a copy of the PDF document packet which he displayed live during our discussion. This PDF package is a point of contention in that discussion, and this would have helped my research. Mike refused, stating, "I am not going to give you that. It has information in it solely intended for the IRS." However, IRS Form 990 and the 1023, which are required by the IRS to be made publicly available with, without, or even awaiting 501c3 status, have not been made available to me or the public. An online search for any 990 submitted by FECORE, which should have been annually, yielded 0 results. So this forced me to do my own research, given that which is publicly available about the conception and stated goals of FECORE. As simple as it may seem, the FECORE logo is a declaration of flat Earth in itself. FE, which is a commonly accepted acronym for Flat Earth or Flat Earther, core is spelled as CORE, meaning the center of an object or a group. It can also mean the central belief of an individual or group. The name is often stated as Field Engineers Corps. However, that spelling in that case would be CORPS, with such examples as the Corps of Engineers and the Marine Corps. The symbol used in the FECORE logo, aside from having nothing to do with field engineering, is actually a geometric illustration which was introduced by Steve Torrance, co-founder of FECORE, board member of FECORE, and Flat Earther. This design was of Steve Torrance's magnetic flat Earth, a 3D model that he used in that claim. A further illustration of this form is shown on the FECORE Facebook page alongside one of the designs that was used in Steve Torrance's video. So alone, the name and logo display clearly that FECORE is a flat Earth organization, supporting the flat Earth cause and identifying itself as the core proponents with the intent to accept donations without tax obligations. And if successfully achieving 501c3 status, this means that your tax dollars will be funding them by way of exemption. But of course, if this was just a thing about the logo, there would be no need in making this video. So let's examine the conception of FECORE and the individuals involved. Starting with the FECORE president, Mike Cavanaugh himself. Listen for a moment to Mike explain his motivation and conception of FECORE.
So could you take a couple of minutes and just kind of tell us, how did you figure this whole thing out, that, we don't live on a spinning, orbiting space fair?
Well, it happened for me. It took quite a while for me to accept it. I had a friend here in the Netherlands who was investigating the flat Earth, and I thought he was ridiculous, of course, like most people do. I was watching Rob Skiba do a breakdown of the Apollo program on YouTube, and I got so extremely pissed. I almost threw my shoe at the television, But that was basically the moment that I got so mad with myself, that I started why did I believe that horse shit? Guys like my dad, for example, he's a hardcore NASA believer, still is, even with his son being the president of a flat Earth organization. But
you're saying, okay, this is, we've been lied to, and that sort of thing. How much time between there and when you decided that you were going to, start and kind of found this organization, FECORE?
Well, as soon as I started accepting that it was a very, very great possibility, then I started looking up prominent figures in Flat Earth, at least their videos, and watch their materials, and I landed on Dr. Zach's page, and I saw his video about the laser test that they did or were planning at that stage. And I also saw that Steve Torrance was doing the animations for most of the video. And then I went over to Steve's channel, and I saw that Steve was making 3D animations of the AE model with JPL Horizons data, all the stars and all the planets and all the suns or all the sun and the moon. All the positions on the map are based on actual data, and that was actually something that I was looking for. So I got in contact with Steve and Zach, and we started, modeling and investigating and et cetera, doing some experiments. And that was just the three of us, and we were discussing many times that it was a good idea to expand the group and maybe do something together. You know, that it was still no real plans to start an official organization, but just getting some heads together and trying to crack the tough nuts in this dilemma of the flat Earth, so to speak. And well, that started to grow pretty fast. We opened a Facebook chat group for it, and got in contact with Dave Marsh, for example, and other guys in Flat Earth, Rick Hammer. And then on one day, Zach said to me, maybe it's a good idea to make something official. And, you know, that got me thinking in, you know, what are our possibilities, and would it be a good idea, and how do we create such an organization? What would be our goal? And what stumble blocks do we need to watch out for? And well, that's the rest is history, I guess, because I think in October of last year we decided to do it, and we got Bob and Jaron and me, Sandor, Steve, and Rick together, and we started FECORE.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
And that was the big announcement at the conference, obviously, in Raleigh, North Carolina, was you know, this group has formed, and kind of the purpose of it, and you know what was on the horizon, and some of the experiments that were going to be conducted, and the funding.
So clearly, FECORE was conceived by a flat earther who was convinced to be a flat earther by a video poorly attempting to discredit NASA with an opinion and scripture-based narrative. Mike Cavanaugh, with Zach, went on to recruit other flat earthers for the organization which now became FECORE. For those who have often stated to me, what is the harm in somebody believing in flat Earth? This organization was founded because one person failed to do the research on the claims suggested in a video by another flat earther. Now listen to FECORE board member and avid flat earther from the Globebusters Flat Earth YouTube group, Bob Nodell, as he goes into detail of the goals of FECORE during one of the Flat Earth conferences.
There you have it. Okay, so that's pretty much for this presentation. So what's on the horizon? I said I would mention a little bit more about the Field Engineers Core Group that has just recently been formed, and we are going to be doing lots of experiments with very high-end DoD specified ring laser gyros, mechanical gyroscopes, laser interferometers, MEMS accelerometers, all of these will be used to prove that there not only is there no curvature to the Earth, there is no forward motion to the Earth, as well as the absolute existence of the ether that Einstein eliminated with his special theory of relativity. We will experimentally show that the ether is rotating around this plane at about 15 degrees per hour, and that's about the only thing that's moving, because this is the dielectric energy that's coming from the stars and the sky above us. This was actually measured over 100 years ago by Sagnac, and many experiments were done back then that we are going to be redoing in the Field Engineer Core Group. We'll be redoing the Sagnac's experiments, the Michelson-Morley, Michelson-Gale, Aries Failure, and we will be carrying them out with our state-of-the-art 21st century computerized laser precision test equipment through the Field Engineers Core Group. And we will be bringing out new inventions that they're being developed to be used as tools to model what we have learned and speculate our cosmology to be.
Before we go any further on this subject, let us listen to Mike Cavanaugh read off the carefully crafted yet somewhat canned FECORE mission statement.
Our mission is not to prove that the government is a fraud or to have any government organization shut down, nor do we have any intention on lobbying to change legislation. We have not committed fraud of any kind. There is no proof of fraud being committed. This is a defamatory statement. FECORE is an organization of individuals dedicated to accuracy, discovery, and application in scientific research. FECORE is unique among researchers groups because we are independent of outside control. As individuals performing research, we realized by forming this group and inviting you to participate, we can greatly expand the scientific body of knowledge. We believe there are many discoveries to be made which have an enormous potential to benefit everyone on Earth. FECORE is doing experiments to collect unbiased data to submit for the public for review and discussion. We do not and have not participated in spreading of any propaganda. We are strictly a data-driven organization.
The mission statement, which you just heard, is a wide departure from their conception and goals, yet claims to be all about the science. Their entire board and staff consists only of flat earthers seeking to prove only their flat earth claims. FECORE boasts to be of field engineers, as stated, a collective operation of field engineers researching Earth. However, none of whom are engineers in the fields being displayed or tested. FECORE board member and avid flat earther from the Globebusters Flat Earth YouTube group, Bob Nodell, highlighted the lack of engineer qualifications of the FECORE members with this non-concise dismissal of the term engineer during the FECORE online board of directors statement.
What licensed engineers does FECORE have on staff to be able to use that name? Worth addressing. Okay, great. Yeah, we can address that. No, the word engineer is not regulated. An engineer, if you're speaking in terms of engineers have to have specific degrees or anything like that, that's probably what most people accept. And yes, we have many degreed engineers on staff, but there are many forms of engineering. And so the use of the word engineer is not something that is regulated, or if you're in the case of George, he thinks that everybody has to be a member of the Professional Engineers Society to be able to be considered an engineer. Nothing could be further from the truth. And in fact, you don't even have to have a degree to be an engineer. Engineers, you could run a train and be called engineers. So the short answer to your question is absolutely not. But believe me when I tell you that everybody on this board and most of the people in FECORE are credentialed engineers and have every right to use that term. Okay?
Mike Cavanaugh is the president of FECORE, and yet passively assumes no responsibility for the published results of tests, which is the actual function of FECORE. Okay, now,
27.
There are two photographs inside of the document that you guys released. And those two photographs, there's two photographs of some kind of laser hitting a large grid target, like a sail. Is that the results of those two tests?
No, that's just to showcase.
Because those were shorter range, right?
No, that was pretty close by us. I think 20 meters or something.
Okay, now, why did you not release photographs of the actual laser at this 20 something kilometer distance? Why did you not release photographs in that results document?
Well, not that there's a perfectly reasonable explanation for that. And the night we went out to get those measurements, when we got those measurements, was actually not intended to actually be an actual measurement. I was just going out there to test if the GPS system was actually targeting the laser in the right direction. So we went out with my phone and a P900, and we managed to get some on camera, and we took some pictures.
Okay.
But unfortunately for that night, because it was a perfect night, we should have brought more massive camera gear, definitely.
Okay, so it's safe to say that although you state that there was a target that was hit, and which would have basically confirmed all of your work, you don't have photographs of it.
We do have video and photographs of it, but you know they're made with a P900, and the P900 is not the best camera that you can have at those locations.
Okay, are these photos and videos, regardless of quality, ever going to be released?
Yes, yes, we're you know there's a massive dump of media that we're going to release pretty soon. I hope we're waiting for a special occasion, and one of those.
No responsible for the content of the website, which is the public face of FECORE.
The only thing that we've changed on our website is, and we were made aware of that by another 501c3, is that we mentioned on our website that we're already registered as a 501c3, and that was obviously not true. That was a mistake made by the web editor, and that was corrected into that we're in the process of becoming a 501c3.
Okay. No responsibility for blocking of visitors and viewers of FECORE material on the FECORE YouTube channel.
I don't have any control, or at least I do have control of the channel, but I don't know who is muted. I actually don't know how to mute people, but apart from that, the board of directors meeting, which is maybe something that we can address also.
And has no control of how his representatives discuss FECORE's goals. Well, should I hold you personally responsible for everything that is said by members of FECORE?
If it comes through the FECORE channel, then yes. Then I am the end responsible person.
Interesting. Okay. So quotes that were made by, let's say, Bob Nodell at the FE conference, which were not posted on the FECORE thing, even though they were sitting up there representing FECORE, are you saying that those are not admissible?
As I said, if they're not coming through the FECORE channels, then they're personal opinions by board directors.
Even if he's sitting there representing FECORE personally?
I'm not sure in which capacity he can represent FECORE at a Flat Earth convention,
I could actually probably bring it up for you. I can bring you up the quote too, but
where was it?
I don't remember exactly which conference it was at. Hold on a second.
I think it's the 2017 in Raleigh where we announced that we were going to form FECORE.
Right. So would you consider that speaking in the capacity of FECORE?
No.
No.
Because we're not officially a business then there yet. We only announced our formation.
Interesting. Okay. Would you consider quotes from people of FECORE during testing performed by FECORE as admissible?
And I think you mean with admissible that I'm not responsible for it, but if they're done during our tests, then yeah, sure, we're responsible for anything that happens during those tests.
Okay, now, as I understand it, FECORE has stated numerous times that they are not a flat Earth organization, nor are they trying to prove flat Earth. Am I correct?
Correct.
Then why was it that Bob said during your Lake Balaton tests, Bob specifically said flat Earth confirmed?
Well, that's his opinion. That's his belief.
But is he not speaking in the capacity of FECORE?
Oh no, he's speaking his opinion as a director. He's not representing.
Okay, when is his opinion to be considered something that is spoken for FECORE?
There's a difference between the individual and the body corporate. The corporate body FECORE needs to put out these statements to its own channels to make it bound to FECORE. The personal opinions of board directors are irrelevant to the opinion of the corporation.
Excellent. Okay, so nothing that Bob says can be held as FECORE unless he says it actually in some capacity on the website of FECORE. Is that what you're saying?
Correct, yes.
Okay, now, either this means that Mike Cavanaugh is an incompetent president of an organization and has loose cannon board members running around falsely stating the goals and achievements of FECORE as being specifically flat Earth in nature, and yet somehow still remains to be a board member, or this is a clear sign that this is not a corporation where anybody is truly in control, nor is concerned with providing factual, reviewed, or solid information, which leads one to believe that there are other motives to consider.
First of all, let me let you know that the entire board of directors is here for Field Engineer Corps. We have Steve Torrance, we have Sandor Zelski, and we have Karen Karen Endicott with us. We have Mike Kavanaugh. We have Jaron Campanella. We have Rick Hummer, and of course myself, which comprises the 7 members of the board of directors for FECORE.
The individual works of the Flat Earther staff of FECORE quite clearly defines that the works of FECORE are governed by those claiming Flat Earth and other anti-establishment views. All of the board members, at one time or another, have been clearly shown their claims are wrong, disingenuous, and in some cases, blatantly fraudulent. But those explanations are cleanly removed and the submitters blocked and dismissed as trolls, paid shills, and liars, clearly displaying a lack of interest by the FECORE staff in factual results, honest experimentation, or even fact-based opinions and professional advice. The experiments being performed by FECORE, to those familiar with the subject matter claimed by Flat Earthers, are in direct support of and intended to prove the Earth to be flat, not rotating, and surrounded by a flowing invisible ether. Let me again take a moment to play the words of FECORE board member and avid Flat Earther from the Globebusters Flat Earth YouTube group and Seventh Day Truth Seekers channels, Bob Nodell, as he explains the intent of the FECORE experiments during the Flat Earth Conference as an FECORE panel member and speaker for the group.
All of these will be used to prove that there not only is there no curvature to the Earth, there is no forward motion to the Earth, as well as the absolute existence of the ether that Einstein eliminated with his special theory of relativity.
These are the 5 projects currently listed on the FECORE website. Force the Level, long-distance microwave transmission, and the laser experiments are 100% designed with the goal to conclude the Earth's physical shape as a plane, despite creative word usage such as does not match the geoid and testing convexity. The mechanical gyro motion testing is a test where FECORE wishes to conclude that the Earth does not rotate by measuring the motion of a gyroscope, and the Aries Failure test as an attempt to measure ether with a method that was obviously unsuccessful given what the test has become named. A quick examination of these tests reveal that the claims and results are or will be intentionally biased, and FECORE will easily draw conclusions which do not conform with reality by either omitting testable natural phenomena, dismissing known tried and true facts about the function of devices, or deliberately poor methodology. The laser tests were performed with the intention of showing 3 results. The first was to have a laser be seen over a great distance, which any meteorologist, physicist, or even amateur willing to perform the experimentation will tell you is in itself not a valid test to conclude the shape of the Earth, since something as common as refraction will distort the test and give a false result over a great distance. Yet seeing the glare alone was considered a victory for Flat Earth, as stated by FECORE board member Bob Nodell, while being a commentator for the FECORE Lake Balaton tests.
There it is. Earth proven flat.
It looks like the green needs to go to the right just a little bit.
The second intent, according to FECORE president and Flat Earther Mike Kavanaugh, was to use the laser mount to determine left to right horizon curvature. This was stated in my discussion with him. You are trying to find out if the laser hit the target at the same height as the laser emitter is above the same surface, which in this case is the water, correct?
Well, theoretically, you can still say that we're assuming that we're having the beam at the same height at the reference location, but we confirm that when we do a horizontal shift on, to the target location.
Horizontal shift? That has nothing to do with height.
Yes, of course, because, if there's more drop between those 2 locations, then the result of that would be that there would be a difference in elevation of the target.
However, nowhere on the site or results documentation was that either performed, set up, or, given the location of the distant teams, even physically possible to carry out, as he described. And yet another additional intent, which was only brought up in my discussion with Mike, but was never mentioned in the results documentation, on the website, or even in post-event interviews with his fellow flat earthers, was the apparent illumination of targets at the distant end of 20-plus kilometer tests, which Mike states he got very accurate results on, made photographs of, but again, never mentions them or has ever produced a photo of this occurrence. But what was the ultimate goal of the test? Was it to see the laser at the other end, or was it to hit a target?
To hit a target.
And did you hit a target?
Yes.
At 22 kilometers?
At 20 and 27, if I remember correctly, it's 27 or 29.
Now, there are 2 target photos in the results document, but those, as confirmed by Mike Cavanaugh, are of small short-range tests and are of no real value from either location. And the critique that I offered about the methodology of leveling the laser, which Mike specifically states multiple times was irrelevant at the emitter location, displays at a minimum the incompetence of those performing these tests. This experiment, also intent on claiming the Earth to have a flat surface, was a test using surveying equipment. However, the test was a general failure, which sometimes happens, because it proved neither a curved or a flat Earth, but rather offered a concave result, which brought discussion from actual surveyors who stated that either the equipment wasn't calibrated correctly or the calculations afterwards were performed improperly. While quite impressive in design and construction, the gyroscope developed by FECORE is by far not capable of cleanly detecting that which they wish to detect with it, and in that will be easy to claim that the Earth doesn't rotate because the detection from the gyroscope will be negative. Additionally, the mechanical gyroscope built by FECORE claims to discredit the Foucault gyroscope from the 1800s, which is reported to have detected the Earth's rotation by measuring the precession on its 2 axes. However, FECORE made the decision not to reproduce the Foucault gyro and instead built a far less sensitive one. The first of the experiments that has yet to be performed is another attempt to claim the Earth's surface to be flat by first dismissing natural phenomena and making unsubstantiated claims regarding radio transmissions. In an interview with FECORE president and flat earther Mike Cavanaugh, he stated that refraction has no effect on radio waves.
Light curves with the Earth, and that's ridiculous. Or refracts with along the curve, so to speak, like what metabunk.org suggests. But they're going to have a hard time because we're going to add some extra validation to this laser experiment by doing the same distance, but now with microwave transmissions, point to point, from the same elevation heights as we did with the laser observations. And a microwave doesn't refract. A microwave is point-to-point communication, and if we are able, and we are going to be able to establish a communication over that 40 kilometers distance, then we will have not only a point-to-point communication over an impossible distance over a curve, but also validated our laser experiments. Now that it's not bending around any curved surface or whatever, because a microwave doesn't do that. Microwave is a straight line from point A to point B. There's no way around it. You can say that a light beam might refract around a curve, but microwaves don't do that. They are not susceptible to refraction. I know that there are if you get a constant transmission, a solid transmission, then there's no way you can make the excuse that it's a Fresnel zone or whatever, or a reflection. That's just point-to-point communication, because microwave is two-way communication.
Right.
You're sending and receiving at the same time.
which is categorically false, as radio waves, similar to light, are forms of radiation. So that which can affect light can also affect radio waves. Mike Cavanaugh even acknowledges this during my discussion with him, as he acknowledges the function of tropospheric refraction radio connections. Are you familiar with tropo radio?
No.
Okay, well, it's tropospheric scattering, where basically a radio shot is shot upwards and it bounces off the, well, not straight up, of course, but at a specific angle, and it bounces off the troposphere.
I've heard the phrase tropospheric scattering. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a what do you call it? It's a great technique for very long radio things, radio shots. Not to mention, anyone who performs a quick Google search can find plenty of articles and charts and test data to confirm that radio waves are definitely subject to atmospheric distortion and refraction. And if anything is true, radio waves at certain frequencies can penetrate obstructions which life can't pass through, which is why you can shut your doors and windows, but your boombox will still play your favorite radio station, your mobile phone will still be able to make calls, and your computer will still have a data connection with your Wi-Fi router elsewhere in your house. And lastly, there is to be a reproduction of the test known as Aries Failure, which on the surface is a visual test, but ultimately it is a heavily mathematical test, which FECORE is depending more on the viewers accepting FECORE's statements about the results rather than checking or even having the ability to check up on it themselves. Something that should also be mentioned is the Aries Failure test is called a failure because of its inconclusive results for that which was tested. The intent of this video is not to halt experimentation by flat earthers, as we have all become callous to the dishonesty of or misrepresentation of their results. The intent of this video is to clearly identify that FECORE is 100% a flat earther organization with an anti-establishment agenda intent on the spread of propaganda against the common good and progress of mankind. I personally, through proper channels, will be submitting a Form 13909 Tax Exemption Organization Complaint Form to eoclass@irs.gov, outlining the fact that the nonprofit organization FECORE is operating in violation of the Articles of Incorporation, Section 2, Item C for propaganda, and will be researching the proper complaint methods to ensure that they do not get 501c3 status, that it is known that this was done intentionally by Mike Cavanaugh and the other members of FECORE. Additionally, I am formally requesting a digital copy of FECORE's annual required Form 990 and 1023. This is my right as a citizen of the United States to receive that information. Please also understand that this is a requirement regardless of whether or not the organization has 501 anything status. The FECORE organization is required to comply with this request, as they have not made the documents publicly available on their website or FECORE publicly accessible outlets. The IRS does allow you to charge a copy fee of 20 cents per page, but that is only if I request a paper copy, which I do not require, and only when that processing fee is outlined prior to my request on your website, which it is not. There have been 2 tax deadlines since the conception of FECORE, April of 2018 and April of 2019 respectively. So there should be 2 editions of these documents. Please be aware that the IRS regulations state that they can impose a penalty of $20 US per day up to a maximum of $10,000 as a fine for each day you refuse to provide this information after my request. These were the documents that I had requested from Mike Cavanaugh in the back chat, and he openly refused to provide. I hope this video has been informative. Y'all have a nice day.
Oh my god.
I would like to offer an educated opinion regarding what FECORE President Mike Cavanaugh stated and considered to be the act of trolls during the Lake Balaton laser experiments. It was stated that the police were called to the FECORE crew while performing their laser tests. Mike Cavanaugh was certain that this was from those trying to stop the experimentation during the live stream. He very clearly described that FECORE thwarted the police problems with permits for the test. While I do not support feeble attempts to disturb experimentation, it is a bit arrogant to claim that this was purely the act of trolls watching the live stream. First, because of the fact that when it was actually live, the live stream was only viewed by those who were invited to view it. Second, there was very little public information about the actual addresses being used. And third, it is highly doubtful that among the folks who were watching, that anybody spoke the language, knew the phone number of, or could even possibly submit such a police complaint. Mike Cavanaugh and the FECORE crew seem to be ignorant of the fact that having a permit for something does not mean that the surrounding community is informed or cool with the activity. The entire Lake Balaton is bordered with residences and businesses, and it would be ignorant at best to think of the hundreds of meters of coastline which FECORE blasted with the laser that night, that none of the residents of the homes in that area made formal complaints to the police. And by the way, I also know why at Lake Balaton, the green laser team saw the blue laser, but the blue laser team didn't see the green. Feel free to contact me if you'd like to know why that was. It has to do with page 13 of your results document.